Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Oracle Eye channel. I am here to speak of the new moon vibrations, and it was interesting after our last eclipse how I had got some energy downloads and activations from a special, group from the star fleets, which is the Arcturians, and when I was ready to do for this new moon channeling, I kept feeling this almost like what people would call writer's block. So I was like, I can't channel, I can't tune in. I felt the activations weeks ago, so what's happening? And what, to my discovery, was they were on standby waiting for me. They opened up and activated some new channels, which I've worked with them before, and they were waiting for me to basically ask whatever it is that the world needed to know and what it was they can reply in response to that. So I talked to two special people in my life that I wanted to get some insight, like what would anybody want to know about, because I had assumed, spiritually speaking, that the message was going to come in this time like it normally does, but it was like, no, the activation took place and it's time to receive a message by you asking what you need to know. So the topics that came up in conversation have to do with, all these shootings at, all these schools, and about global stuff that, is happening right now. And so what I'm doing today is I got some tuning of insights, and what I'm going to do will be channeling and allowing the Arcturian light language to come through in between, interpreting the message. So this is not necessarily an activation, but it is a message, and it will be raising your vibrations to open up awareness. So there's like mini activations by listening to the language of light in between of the message as it's being interpreted. And so I said, okay, time to focus and see what these things are. And so, I'll start off now with what they had to say, but I'm tuning in with them. So, as they open up in their intro, the shooting and what's happening, especially with the minors and the young ones out there, the Arcturians wants people to understand, because they see things at a bigger, broader, clear, vast, vision. Perspective is a big thing here. We have our human perspective, we have our opinions, and so on and so forth. And in the higher realms, just like the Arcturians, which is from fifth and higher dimensions, even 7 and 9, they try to explain here to me that there is like an algorithm between the parallel universe and in parallel lives, and how they perceive things that are more complex, maybe even what we would say a harder, difficult way for us to understand, but they see things in a different light, in a much more clear perspective, although it may seem complicated to us. And in this reality, and what's being manifested but also foreseen between the parallel worlds, is that right now there are many younger beings, meaning our youth out there, that are coming from the star realms. Star seeds is what most people call them, where their soul has been in other lives and other places in the universe and other systems, as what we call here on Earth extraterrestrials. Now that doesn't mean that we have gray skin and big black eyes. There's many entities, or should I say beings, that are just like us. Some similar to humanoid look, some maybe in different forms of physicality wise, and into the higher realms. But basically what they're trying to say is, we have came back, and we have at least portion has returned into this physical human vessel. And so we talk about the psychological, we talk about the mental. It's not to excuse any behavior in all these tragedies and negativity of things going on. What they're trying to explain is that these souls are entering in this world and trying to understand, why is it that I'm here? Some are uncomfortable in the physical vessel. Some are uncomfortable in their overall sense, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. We can name it all. It's interesting how there was no such things many years ago as like ADHD and ADD. And I mean, in our generation now, there's all these different illnesses, disease labeled by names, and so on and so forth. And I do believe in some medicinal things. I would prefer the natural way, but I also do believe that God has placed our doctors in this world, which are underlined, I believe, are assisted by Archangel Raphael under the emerald green healing light. So there is some truth to that. We cannot just disconnect to staying healthy and getting our doctor's visits and checkups, not just for us that are pretty well health wise, but even for more harder, more worst cases in any type of illness, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally. But again, this is all in perspective. I don't want to say these things in a sense of, well, that's a way of excusing, like, oh, I did something in a past life, so if I do it again, and that was from that lifetime ago, so it's not my fault. No, we're not. We still got to be accountable for this lifetime and what we do. And it's not an excuse to sugarcoat behind the higher realms. So I'm just giving you the higher realms perspective and understanding that these star seeds are not in comfortable positions and feel out of place, and some are expanding and growing in loving, positive way. Some are actually taking a darker side of things. And I, touch lightly trying to say not by choice, but by choice. Whether aware or not, it's really about trying to align. And what makes it very interesting, is when they explain the other perspective. The Arcturians talk about the world, the government, the media, all of that, how that also affects everyone else. If we are contributing to, certain things, again, I'm not going against or for because of political reasons for anyone out there. I want to have respect for everybody. But, let's say if we talk about gun laws, once again, things are being out there. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying that certain individuals, according to the higher perspective, is that those things that are made available could be a trigger to allow me to say, oh, well, that's available, so I'm going to go ahead and attempt and use this or do this, because the star seed would, that is not finding their own inner light, may retaliate in certain ways. It's almost like they want out. And actually, I have to say, even outside of any type of violence, all star seeds are sometimes trying to find their way out, even emotionally speaking. Or, I hear a lot of star seeds even that are, in my age group and above, that will say, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. I think I've caught myself saying that too once in a while, and say, oh, please just beam me up. I'm tired of the earth realm and its craziness and all of that. But we came here for a reason. We all chose to come back to fulfill some sort of our path, destiny, to reach our higher evolution. Maybe there's karmic contracts, with ourselves or past lives, whatever it may be. We chose to come back in for a greater purpose, and even to learn and grow and learn some, lessons along the way to better ourselves, to perfect ourselves once again, to go back up. As we got dropped back down into the lower dimensions, we are raising back up to the higher. And that's another reason why you don't always see, there's sightings everywhere, but you don't always see much, or it's like a half and half. There's a lot out there that's be improving. But there's a lot that is not seen, and it's because, like the Arcturians explained to me before, they choose to not come and lower their vibration from a higher dimensional realm because they do not want to be in this type of energy environment, but they'll help us from the through the dimensional bridge, to assist us, and it's them to help us to raise up to their vibration. So, when we look at these things, I'm not in perspective, again, from the higher perspective, is they're working in the background. They're trying to give a different sense of knowingness and clarity. They see things a little more broad vision, like a telescope, to see clearly, beam in, but also see it in an expansive way to see what's happening and how the behavior patterns are and actions. So we have to work on just healing our planet. We have to not just think of ourselves. It is important for us to better ourselves to help others, but also to try to spread some love and light, even if it's just through positive gestures to people, opening the door to them, saying hello, a simple smile. Those small things really do matter. And really visualizing and sending white light, in the emerald green healing light and violet transmuting light to people around the world. When you see a situation that seems dark, or you hear a story, send blessings to it and allow the universe and God to take care of the rest, because we can't control the fate, but we can bless it. It's like I would never say, oh, let this person be healed so they can live if it's meant for them to cross into the side. I would say, let them heal if it's meant to be, bring the best possible speedy healing. But if it's according to divine will, divine law of creation, then it's let them, allowing, creator to handle it, to bring the most peaceful, painless possible way of easing out if there was like an illness taking place with someone that's having health problems and is on their way out to leave this earth realm and going into the heavenly realms, outside of their in the body and out, meaning the spirit, the soul, as I'm sure you understand that. So really this is about understanding perspective and then looking at the other side, outside of the innocent ones, the star seeds, young children and teenagers. It's really finding a way to support them with love and attention, understanding, because they are a higher, let's say, breed of souls that are trying to integrate to this lower dimensional planet that we have, that we live in and exist in today. They're much more sensitive than we are. Some of us are star seeds, so we are sensitive, but I find that, again, children are much more energetically tuned in. So they absorb like sponges everything that takes place around them. They learn very quickly, much quicker than we do. So it can go either way. You learn bad, you learn good. It's up to the soul on what actions they decide or what path they take. And we look at, again, the world or media or government perspective, it's, again, there's a war, I would say, between the celestial realm and our earth realm right now. The Arcturians are working very strong in the background into assisting us to evolve and to accept one another. That's another thing, accepting, because, one thing that I find is that how are we ever going to accept if by luck, we have a chance to really have, let's say, the disclosure of UFOs or extraterrestrials open, and that they connect, let's say landings, if we want to call it that. How are we going to accept another group or race of advanced beings or humanoids or, whatever, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Syrians, Andromedans, whatever. How are we going to accept them if we can't even accept our own people in our own planet from all different races? There's a lot of that, going on. If we can't accept our own humanoid kind, how are we going to accept to the higher possibilities to learn and educate and expand and grow and evolve and maybe even travel the universe? So, that's something to think about. If we fear, and think everything is negative, then that's exactly what we're going to attract through the law of attraction once again. So it's thinking about accepting, loving others peacefully, and doesn't necessarily mean you have to always get along or see eye to eye, but at least be blended or united, and just, I don't want to say the word cordial. Respect is a big thing. So this is what they have been trying to bring in for quite some time. I'm sure the angels and many other higher beings that are working under the co-creator and the Christ consciousness are trying to help us all to see we are at such a verge breaking point of higher realities. So much has been evolved. I mean, remember the old pagers, and now we have cell phones that you can take pictures. You have it as a camera, recorder, phone, emails. Like, I mean, we are evolving, and we can really evolve into a higher level. And it's not all about technology, but also to grow spiritually. We have to keep that in mind as well. And those things that we talk about that are being created in our planet, as far as like devices, that comes from a higher mind, intelligence, to be able for us to download information from the higher self, the Akashic records, higher beings, to be able to get this far ahead. So again, there's so much more possibilities, but love is the key. Love is number one that overcomes all things. And I always say the third eye opens to see clearly, but it really expands and see things in a higher vision when the heart is open first. So keep this in mind. I hope this helped you. I will be doing some, near soon, more channeling on, other subjects. Please, make sure you like this video and check my website at www.oracleernesto.com if you want to book a consultation. And don't forget to put a comment below if you are looking to, specific topics and subjects that you would like me to, channel and tune in. Or maybe with what beings, archangels, guides, anything that is helpful, and I would try to get to each request as best as possible, one at a time, of course, and be able to assist you all in divine messages that you wish to receive. And again, there may be some messages that will come in that I will be able to pass down to you all as well. But yes, let's think of this, war from outside. They're trying to assist us, it's in the spiritual realm. So let's stop battling and start accepting divine light and see things in a different perspective. There's something negative that's out there, or something that's affecting you personally negative out there. Look at it as information. And how, okay, there's something negative, I'm protecting myself, and don't take it as a threat, because the more we feed when there's some negative targets hitting you, whether it's magically, spiritually, in a sense that you're feeling like a sense of bad luck, if you want to call it that, then you say, I know this is information, but it's no longer going to affect me, and I am divinely protected. And you don't have to keep feeding the fuel, the fire, with oil by, let me go ahead and reverse this again, let me send this back, because you know what, it's just going to be a tennis match forever. You let it go and you leave it in God's hands, because you will be protected, especially if you know that you're being an honorable, true person, and living in your truth and in your light. There's nothing that can affect you as long as you allow it to. So I wish you all the best, and we'll talk soon. And I send love and light to you all with the Arcturian final open activation for you guys. Alright, so that is to open your chakras and to receive all the information and to be blessed and to be able to take this in. Drink an 8-ounce glass of water, maybe at least between now and the next few days. Continue for 3 days just to allow everything in, to be integrated, and be ready to spread the light to everyone else as well. And expand your life from your heart center out. Blessed it is. Thank you all. Until next time. Thank you. It's Ernesto. Bye bye.